You know, this just must be my time of the year for people to try to scam me. The previous video I talked about this Craigslist scam where this guy kind of went off the rails. I wasn't totally paying attention, and it just created its own kind of drama where supposedly I would send a cashier's check. He's going to send people. I'm supposed to pay for something. Totally ignored emails I was sending back to him telling him I was canceling the thing, and everything has died out. That's just how it is. The conclusion of that one is that I took it to UPS, took pictures of the thing, handed it to the guy there. He scanned it, said, this is a bad address. It's totally different than the one that's on the package, but we're going to send it to this address. You're okay. Fine. So, you're thinking everything is good, right? It's all over and whatever. Well, maybe in that case it was, but here's another one. And if you saw the thumbnail, this is what I'm going to talk about. The thumbnail was another email that I got for something that I've been trying to market for like 4 months. I have these 2 giant trunks in the house, and I want to sell one. Actually, I'm trying to figure out why I want one to keep because I've never used it. My ex had it, and she had it totally stuffed with all kinds of things, but I just have it. I don't know. It just seems like I need to keep a trunk. Anyway, I get this email, and it's kind of interesting. It's like, whoa, I've been trying to sell that trunk. I'm selling it for $100, and here's something I got. Now, at the time, probably the thing that may have made me think about things a little bit more was I was exhausted. I had just had like a kind of a rough period. I was tired and whatever, so I needed to take a nap. So I took about a 30-minute nap, and then I come back to this email, and I'm looking at it real closely, and I'm showing you the email. If you remember the thumbnail, if you don't, I'm sorry, I'll explain it to you. So what happens is I get a thumbnail from a guy who's calling himself Eden Thasius. I don't know how you pronounce that. Thasiah. I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, it's coming from a Craigslist email address, which is very interesting because I said last time that I didn't know that that could happen. But then there's a second address on there, which is mine, but it's not mine. It's a Craigslist. It says sale.craigslist.org. And that's interesting because my email address is embedded in Craigslist, but I don't know. That just looked kind of strange. Anyone locally who has ever bought anything and decided to contact me by email, it always shows up with my email address. It doesn't show up as a Craigslist email address. So that looked odd. And then I looked at everything else. Hi, I'm very interested in the trunk and am able to pick up. Please text. And it gives me a phone number. Now, that line, the first line, that just sounded really choppy. That didn't make any sense. Please text. Well, one, I don't text anybody I don't know. That's the first thing. But second, this is supposed to be someone who's saying that he's local, but it's an 805 area code. Now, I decided to look that up, and it turns out that 805 is a California area code. So the way I'm seeing it, okay, this isn't someone who's local who's looking to come get it. True, it's possible that it could be someone who was going to school, you know, SU's just opening up, Syracuse University that is, we call it SU here. Anyway, you know, students that come back and whatever, but that just didn't look right. But here's the other thing. It wasn't a student, or at least wasn't trying to show off to be a student, because it says that this person works at the Newhouse School of Public Communications. And they're in the advertising department. And that's where the phone number is listed under it. And then below that, it says Syracuse University. Well, right off the bat, because I live in this area, that tells me this is not a legitimate email. Any email correspondence that comes from Syracuse University is going to begin with Syracuse University under the person's name. And it's not necessarily Newhouse School of Public Communications. It's the Newhouse School of Communications. In other words, that didn't make any sense. And as far as I know, and I'm not 100% on this, but as far as I know, they don't necessarily have an advertising department. What would they need to advertise? You know, almost half the sports things that you see on TV these days mentions the Newhouse School. So they don't have to advertise anything. And so then I said, well, tell me about this 805. I'm saying this to myself. And then I said, let's look it on Google. So I look up on Google, and it turns out that some of the biggest scams are basically from 3 different area codes, and 805 is at the top of the list. And somehow they're able to send stuff out, and they get people to text them, and once they text them, they've got you. You're going to start getting bombarded with all kind of ads and different kinds of things like that. And that's just another scam. That's just another way to get back to you. So what I did was, I have Verizon, and I have basically a throwaway email address. So I swapped over to that one. I used the throwaway email address, and I wrote back, not thinking I'm really going to get anybody, but I wrote back and I said, okay, I know this is a scam because that's not how Syracuse University sends out its emails. I'm not texting you because I'm just not going to do that. And I've reported it to Craigslist because it turns out, and I wish I'd known this beforehand, that you can actually report someone who says they're trying to buy something to Craigslist, and then they will bounce that number. I'm kind of surprised that Craigslist can't figure it out up front, but maybe that's just not in the technology. Maybe that's something that can't happen. It's just another thing. But that's not the only thing, because that was shut down pretty much immediately. Today, I'm out visiting with a friend of mine who I've known for over 40 years, and I get home and there's a message on my answer machine. And the guy didn't give a name. He didn't say who he was representing, but he said, we believe that you're looking for a new position and we would like to talk to you about it. Please call this number back and we'd like to talk to you. So I get this message and I'm thinking, okay, let's see here. This is supposedly a company, but they're not giving me anything. Don't give me a name of the company. Don't give me a name of the person who's calling. So I decided I'm going to look up the phone number. So I look up the phone number, and it leads me to this company. I'm not going to mention their name. If you're really interested, you can look it up, but don't bother. And I look it up, and their website says that they're based in Illinois. But the area code for the phone number was 646, which is in New York City. And on their website, they give you an address, but they don't tell you where they are. But they've got one of those Google Maps things. If you've ever been to Google Maps and you've looked up how to find a place, and you can expand it or you can shrink it, well, that's what they have on their website. And that is trying to tell you that they're in Illinois somewhere. Northbrook. I don't know where that is, but still, that's what they're trying to tell you. But if you ever get something like that, and this is how come I don't answer the phones up front unless I know who it is, you just don't ever call those folks back because it's a scam. In this particular kind of scam, and I know that because I found something on Reddit which said that they get you to call them back. They don't really tell you anything, but they do try to tell you that it's only going to cost you blank. No employment agencies, whether it's temp or permanent, is going to charge you up front to get a job. That's just not how it works. They're recruiters for businesses. And so the business will pay for you to come in. They may do the screening, but otherwise, don't let yourself get scammed. Like I said, this just seems to be my month for people trying to scam me. And I'm not having it. I hope none of y'all are having it. Don't fall for these kinds of things. You know, that's all I can say. That's why I hope you take a look back at the thumbnail when I'm done, if you didn't pay attention to it earlier, just to see what it looks like. Y'all, I'm tired of these folks. I wish there was a way you could just drop a bomb on them, but unfortunately, one, I ain't got no bombs, and two, you have to find them, and I don't know where these people are. I don't know if they're in New York City. I don't know if they're in Illinois. I don't know if they're in, I'll say Pakistan, because truthfully, I don't know where Pakistan is. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. These scammers, they gonna try. Y'all let me know what you're thinking. My name is Mitch Mitchell. I hope you have a wonderful weekend.